Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for me. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Ready to explore right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Monster Mile Dover Motor Speedway, live and host of the action tonight for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series presented by the Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. Qualifying just getting wrapped up. Drivers down trackside and getting ready to roll off and get 200 miles of concrete banked action started here tonight. So with that, let's get right down trackside and get into your starting grid. Jeff Marble, the Team Marble iRacing captain, takes the pole with a 23.0. Rolling off on his outside second in the outside pole goes to Riot Motorsports' rookie, Michael Mueller in the 99 machine. Jeff Shutt will start back in third for No Excuses Racing. And Mraz back and forth starting just behind his Riot Motorsports teammate. Quentin Clark in fifth. Tracy Powers back in sixth. Scott Glasso 7th. Todd Shiro, good qualifying effort for him. He will roll off in 8th. Thomas O'Hara back in 9th. And Brian Conklin rounding out your top 10. Rachel Hunt, the rookie, she will start back in 11th. Wes Hurd Jr. in 12th. Making up row number 7 here tonight is going to be another No Excuses Racing driver, Johnny McCulchuk, with the Team Marble iRacing driver, Tyler Marble, to his outside in 14th. Ty Ippolito, last week's winner, first one of the season for him. He will start back in 15th. Adam Johnson 16th. Jared Bundy, Ryan Haynes making up row 9. Mark Zabak and Bill Benedict rounding out your top 20. Cody Matthews, Roger Shelton, row 11. Alan Pajari and Austin Fitzgerald, two Dynamic Autosports teammates, start in row number 12. Jake Hickson, 25th. Glenn Grigsby in 26th. Brandon Saylor for Team Marble iRacing in 27th, with Jeffrey Souza in 28th. Jacob Musso back in 29th. And Kenneth Bartholomew rounding out your top 30. Brett Spott, 31st. Andrew Russo, 32nd. Kyle Oakley, 33rd, with Anthony Hanley in 34th. Matthew Gearinger, 35th. And Christopher Hall in 36th. All right, let's look at your race info breakdown here real quick before we do get off to the races. It's the Dover 200 here for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Distance going to be 200 laps, 100% fuel, 4 sets of tires. No fast pair open setups as always, and 3 green-white checkers if we were to need them. Track temp starting going to be 111 degrees. Dover just over a mile in length, high banking in the corners, and it is a concrete oval, so surface a little bit different. Partly cloudy skies, winds at 12 miles an hour, 43% humidity, and 79 degrees outside. And again, with it being a concrete oval, it's going to drive a little different, but it's a fun track. A lot of guys love it. Describe it as almost a roller coaster with the way the car feels around here. Steep banking in the corners, even the straightaways have a little banking on them, in the perfect place to go racing on a Monday night. Here we go, race number 11. Green flag in the air. We're racing at Dover. Big stack up further back on the outside. That got everybody checked up as they all dive down into turn 1 for the first time. It looks like it is Jeff Marble who quickly is going to be able to pull away with the lead as they race down the back straightaway, though. Further back, they remain 2 by 2. And these restarts, they are going to be key all night. We saw it in the real-life Cup race, and I think you're going to see it tonight. This is a very easy aero-blocking track, if you will, and in a sense, what that means is that lap traffic, or not lap traffic, just traffic in general, is going to be a really, really tough pass here tonight. So you got to get them while the tires are fresh, while you got the most grip to move around. And so far, you can already see further back, still 2 and 3 wide, but up front, Jeff Marble has now got about a 3 or 4 car length lead over second place Michael Mueller in the 99. Tire saving going to be a big key here tonight as well. So far, so good. Everybody keeping it nice and clean. Again, 200 laps, a long way to go here at Dover. And fuel, going to be one of those nights where it could potentially be a 3-stopper, just based off what we've seen. What we know, of course, Johnny McCulchuk provides us info with it every week, is that guys can go about 80 to 90 laps on fuel, but going to give up maybe a little bit too much time doing that. So we'll see if guys going a little bit sooner. Again, if you split it into 3, then you don't have to quite go 80. You could go, say 70 maybe, or 60, 80. There's a couple different choices that you've got, and I think we'll see that a little bit here tonight. And of course, any cautions we get is going to break that up as well. So now that the middle of the field has finally gotten themselves organized and separated out, we will go back up front where Jeff Marble continues to lead. And actually, he's working a couple different lanes right now. I think trying to find where he feels like that car sits the best at right now. Talked about that warmer track temp, 112 now, just after the start of the race. But here's a look at the onboard. And again, this is saving tires. So this isn't Jeff pushing as hard as he could. But here you go, down the straightaway, almost 175 miles an hour. And that's not very what we expect, if you will, of when you think of a track that's a mile or shorter. But that's what makes Dover Dover, is those high bankings in the corners allows you to carry a lot of speed. And Notice to the left here of Jeff Marble as he works his way through 3 and 4, that pit entrance. And those barrels, it is one of the toughest, if not the toughest pit road on the entire schedule. So everybody's going to have their eyes on that. Again, you have to go from, again, probably about 140 miles an hour down to 35, I think, is the pit road speed in a matter of just a set of corners. So you really got to get checked up a lot in a hurry. And a lot of times that can cause guys issues. So we'll have to see how well everybody's able to fare with that here tonight. Michael Mueller loses the spot in second to his teammate, Andrew Mraz. Boy, these guys looked stellar on the start of the white flag lap last week at Talladega. Had 3 of them lined up. Unfortunately, did not end that way at the line. Instead, it was the Dynamic Autosport rookie. He saw one of his other teammates get the job done at the other 2 super speedways. And Tai Iopolito said, I think it's time for me to get one here for myself. And now that he has captured that first win of the season, and by the way, did it in a No Bull 5 race, putting himself in good position not only in the point standings, but in the rookie standings, and of course, the No Bull 5 standings. So Tai Iopolito on a good roll here early. Further back in the field, Mark Zabak, the Canadian driver, down 2 spots from where he started this race at. But he is going to potentially lose one more here as it's Brandon Saylor, one of the rookies, taking a peek to his inside, or excuse me, Austin Fitzgerald. Brandon Saylor a couple spots back, taking a look to his inside. And that is another one of the Dynamic Autosports teammates. There's Brandon Saylor, a couple of spots back, looking for a little gap there in between Cody Matthews and Jake Hickson. Going to do that. Jake Hickson, the speed has not quite been there for the 16 since Las Vegas, where he almost captured his 3rd win in a row. Now, we did see a lot of potential last week at Talladega. Of course, things didn't work out, but that's always a wild card race nonetheless. But here tonight, definitely going to be looking for a bit of a rebound, see if he can get back into business. Now, I think the biggest storyline coming into this week was a new addition to No Excuses Racing, and that came in the form of Roger Shelton. And so now going to add on from what was just Jeff Shutt and Johnny Mikulchuk, another driver to their stable, and a good pick at that, Roger Shelton, with a great initial season, inaugural season, if you will, here in the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series, as he sits just behind Brett Spott, and in fact, he's in the middle of quite a bit of traffic here. And this is where things get really tricky to pass, because if you've got a car right in front of you, it's really hard to get your car to rotate around the corner, whether you're on the top or bottom. And that's when you start to see guys search around the racetrack. The good thing is, at least with the way that these next gens drive here, you can move around quite a bit. In fact, we've already seen, I would say, at least 3 different lanes. I don't know if I'd venture to say 4, but of course, wrapping the bottom, run in the middle, or ride in the top. And a lot of guys, if they're by themselves, will take this sort of diamond-like approach that you see Kyle Oakley, Jake Hickson do there, where you enter the corner kind of on that black line, wash up just a little bit through the center, and then arc it back down to the black line on exit. Kyle Oakley, one of the guys that we have carrying a driver cam for us here tonight. In fact, the first man that we have carrying an onboard cam for us here tonight will make a stop there in just a moment. But you notice the banking down the straightaways. And it's interesting. Well, actually, I'm going to hold that thought for a minute because we just have had a change for the lead as we were going back and looking at what was going on further back. Andrew Mraz has taken the lead away from Jeff Marble. And I was just getting ready to say that it's, you know, kind of interesting in the sense of to see a guy take off here with a lot of speed and maintain it. Now, here we go. Jeff Marble, though, he's going to fight back for this spot. I was going to say, you know, usually when you lose a spot here, you're not able to work back for it. But Jeff proving that maybe he's got a little something in that car. You do see the right front damage, and I wonder if that has something to do with that position that he lost. Coming off the corners here, the whole point of, you know, trying to hook the bottom is that when it washes up, it's very easy to get into that outside wall. And, oh, Jeff Marble almost turns Andrew Mraz right there. Boy, these guys are going at it here right out of the gate. Marble back to the top, looking for a bit of a crossover here. You can see he gets a lot better exit. Here we go, another move to the inside. Mraz going to continue to just try to work Jeff Marble over here. There is the onboard view, by the way, for Jeff Marble. In fact, we're showing the real-life onboard. We'll hop in the virtual cockpit here. And now Jeff going to try the opposite of what Mraz just did to him. You see kind of that aero blocking battle going on. Last time at 3 and 4, Mraz went high, took the air away from Jeff. This time, Jeff goes high as Mraz tries to dive low. Caution is out. For the first time here tonight, trouble for Andrew Russo and Roger Shelton, as these two have both went around on the front stretch entry into turn number 1. Oh, Roger Shelton tries to get it back going. That tricky banking there, not making it easy. And you can see, now that car is angled. Everybody can drive around. And yeah, unfortunately for the 42, by him not getting looped around, I think he is going to lose a lap here. But let's go back and break down what causes this one. As you can see, there was definitely some contact at some point. Question is that contact what starts it? Is that a byproduct of it right here? All right, this is from up high on one of the spotter stands, and they're 2x2 off the corner, and Roger Shelton's going to tag the outside safer barrier, and that bounces him off of it, gets him into Russo, and then both along for the ride at that point. Boy, the 42, you could see, even though he had it locked down, that car really started sliding back up the racetrack. One thing I will say that makes it a lot easier for everybody else is they called over the self-cleaning racetrack, and there's a good chance that anytime there's a wreck, well, I guess I should say at least on the straight, but overall it eventually works its way down to the bottom. And that's, again, because of how banked this entire track is. And what that means is that if you're trying to dodge a wreck and you're not sure where to go, it's probably best to pick the high side. There's another view, as that's what Souza, Jacob Musso, and I couldn't tell if that was Matthew Gearing or somebody else just behind, all chose to do. So again, watch this. It's going to be slight contact, but again, there's so much momentum going towards the outside that even if you hold it up there, it's hard to not bounce off even a little bit. And it's just wrong place, wrong time for Andrew Russo. Innocent victim there. And unfortunately, he still gets caught up, and this is the TV1 shot. Roger Shelton probably gets away with this okay with that initial contact, but it's going to be the second hit that's kind of the doozy of it all. So yeah, it's pretty significant contact with the front end of his Chevy Camaro to that inside wall. I think Andrew Russo's okay. Remember, these guys don't get fast repairs, so any damage you get, you're stuck with for the rest of the race. And then, watch as Roger Shelton's going to try to get it back going here. And you see, notice he actually climbs some banking here, and there you go. Tries to get it back and just spins itself back out. Lucky to not get anybody else involved, but nonetheless, that's what brings out our first caution of the night. And it was kind of unfortunate timing when that came out, in the sense of I was just getting ready to go back and see if we could figure out exactly where Jeff Marble got his right side damage from, because I think that's something to definitely note. I mean, there you see it on the right rear, and we don't see it as much on the right front now, but we saw it under that last little sprint there. He had some significant right front damage. I wouldn't say significant to necessarily hurt the aero of that car, but enough that tells you he definitely made some contact with the wall somewhere, which could have led up to what cost him the lead to Andrew Mraz. And again, very easy with what we saw with Roger Shelton to happen to pretty much anybody in the field. So I'm thinking that there's a good chance that that may have been something of what potentially happened. Nonetheless, though, getting ready to go back to green flag racing here. So I believe we'll get the one to go signal this time. And you can see here it is Andrew Mraz being scored as your leader. Jeff Marble second. Michael Mueller back in third. Quentin Clark fourth. And Jeff Shutt rounding out your top five. Now I was sitting here noticing, and again, iRacing, there's a couple different factors, but what a beautiful facility Dover, at least it still is, but was at the time here. I'm looking at, look at the bleachers, the grandstands, almost eye to eye. Imagine if they went around the entire length of this track, but all the way from turn 3, I think, to the exit of turn 2. Now again, I don't think they have quite that many anymore in real life, but here you see it here. I mean, really cool track. And then the other thing, I don't know if anybody's got any insight on this. I'd certainly be curious to know, though, and I'll show you here as they come around, is the lights that you see right there on the backstretch. Now we know Dover isn't a track that has lights all the way around, but notice them here. Watch up top left-ish of your screen. I mean, top right too, but there is light poles, and there are lights that look like at least they're angled towards the track. I'm just wondering, what are those for? Dover, I think, would be a cool track for that lights all the way around, but see the hotel to the left and the two catwalks. A lot of cool stuff here at Dover, and definitely one of the tracks cool to go to in real life and to go to in the game. All right, here we go. Pace car going to make the left turn. First restart of the night. 22 laps complete. We'll go to the wide angle view to capture everything that goes on. Back into the restart zone. Green flag in the air. Back racing here at Dover. It's a good start, but this time it's the inside that checks up. Both restarts, there's been a row that's had a lot of trouble getting through the gears that's caused a stack up. But it looks like Andrew Mraz is going to be able to pull away to the lead up front. Jeff Marble fighting hard off of 2 to try to get that second spot. And it looks like everybody keeping it clean here, but they're all still jockeying for position. Just over a 10th of the way through this race, and that shows you that this is one of the longer races of the season, certainly a battle of endurance. But that did change up the pit strategy. Well, not that much. I mean, now it's still a 3-stopper, but just a little bit easier of a 3-stopper, I would say. So you make it 80 to 90 laps. Well, it's close, but I just don't see anybody being able to stretch it, even if you make it 80, 90 laps on this run, to try to make it another 80, 90 on the run after that. I think you lose too much time. But up front, you see it looks like it's mostly single-filed out. We're keeping eyes, though, on the back because it is not single-filed out just yet. Tyler Marble to the inside. Ooh, looks like 25 of Tracy Powers there got up the racetrack. See if we get it back down. Rachel Hunt, she's right in the mix of all this. Qualified 11th, still sitting in that same spot. Thomas O'Hara just in front of her. And now almost 3 wide to 61, trying to get back to the bottom here. O'Hara continues to do a good job protecting back up front. A battle is on for second now as Michael Mueller trying to take that spot away from Jeff Marble. Jeff going to fight him hard here forward. He knows how important clean air is, and the further back you go, the dirtier or less clean, however you want to say it, that air gets. It looks like Jeff was able to fend him off that time, but you know, and the good thing with Dover, with the way that line works here, at least the favored line, is that if you can kind of pinch that guy down on the bottom, it's going to be really tough for them to get clear, at least any time in the early portions of a run. Now, as it gets later and the tires start to wear out, if you start slipping and sliding off of 2, then the top is no longer going to be very valuable. But right now, Jeff Marble working the middle top groove, and it seems like it is working pretty well. We'll see if he goes to try to track down your leader here in Andrew Mraz, or if he's content with riding around here for a little bit, trying to save some tire. It looks like he is still sawing on that wheel a little bit. Makes me think he's still going for it a pretty decent amount. Andrew Mraz, in the meantime, though, go up front here and listen to his throttle and how smooth that car sounds through the corner. And similar to Jeff Marble, it sounds like he is scrubbing quite a bit of tire as well here. See him give a little kiss to the outside wall right there off of 2. No harm, no foul, though. We do have some more driver cams here on the night. Next up, we're going to go back a little bit further in the pack to Johnny Mikulchuk. As, ooh, man, he had a big moment right there as the 17 of Oakley actually tagged the wall just to the outside there of Mikulchuk. But Johnny right now is down 9 positions from where he started. You wonder if there was a little bit of strategy play with that first caution, or the car is just really struggling here, at least on the short run. Johnny Mikulchuk also carrying the pedal cam for us. And that is certainly getting quite a bit of work here tonight. You don't necessarily use the brake here at Dover, at least not early on in the run, but it's an option. And then the other thing that I know a lot of guys were probably wondering about coming into tonight, or at least a lot of people that you knew were going to be tuning into this race, was would there be shifting? It's a mile length track, but the way these gears run here, there is not shifting, at least from nobody that we've seen here in the field. Everybody stays in 5th gear throughout pretty much the entirety of the run, and that helps with tire wear as well when you don't have to worry about shifting, and a little bit easier to focus, but also makes it more momentum dependent in the sense of if you slip up off a corner, you can't just downshift and, you know, get that instant acceleration. You're going to lose a lot of speed as you slowly work back up on the revs. And so right now, the 97 of Andrew Mraz has built his lead up to about half a second on Jeff Marble. Speaking of Marble, we're worrying about how Tyler Marble's doing, and maybe not quite the start to his night that he had in mind, but still a good run going. He's running in 10th. Looking to see if he could capture a win here on the Monster Mile. He's got some work to do, but he is up 4 positions from where he started. Again, the qualifying effort not quite as good as we're used to seeing, as he just made some contact with the outside wall there. And it's not necessarily a single hit that really does damage. It's if you keep beating that right side up over time, that eventually it will start to affect that aero, and the handling of the car can go away a lot quicker than you would expect here. So you really got to try to take care of your race car, especially in the early stages. Try to make it to the end of this thing, maybe start to push it a little bit more. Jeff Shutt with the Capital Auto Group sponsor, and of course the other No Excuses Racing driver carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight. Sponsor of last week's race, of course, being Capital Auto Group with the Capital Auto Talladega 250. What a fun race that was. Back to a little bit more of a technical track, though, of course, being here at Dover tonight. And last but certainly not least is BMP Racing's Ryan Haynes, the driver out of Center Hill, Florida. Right just behind Brian Conklin here. Boy, it has been a rough go for BMP, and I'm not talking about in terms of the talent level this season. They have gotten in a ton of bad luck. It seems like every race, the earliest wreck that we see, they're involved as an innocent victim. Not anybody that started the wreck, but just somebody who had nowhere to go in terms of avoiding it. And that's kind of punched them out of a lot of potentially good runs this season. We'll see if here tonight, Haynes and his teammate, Spod, can keep the cars clean, potentially make it to the end of this race unscathed. And I think you'd be surprised at how good of a finish they both could bring home if that were to be the case. Back towards the front of the field. Battle is on for the lead, not between Marble and Mraz, but between Mueller and Mraz, two of the Riot Motorsports teammates. By the way, Jeff Marble, I'm not sure if he had a pretty big issue here, or if he's just fading right now due to either tire wear or he's saving tire. Again, usually the best side is when you see some damage on the right front, but I'm not seeing any. Although I am curious here how he lost all these positions as quick as it seems like he did here. And it may not have been all that quick. It may have been over the course here of a couple laps, but it's just interesting to see that he was running second there for a while, and then all of a sudden lost all those positions in a hurry here. And, oh, is it going to be some lap traffic that maybe cost him? He had some sort of an issue here, I think. Yeah, he must have. Yeah, this is Michael Mueller taking a look to the inside. This was, again, over a couple handful of laps ago. And as Jeff gets on the high side here, he just gets out of the groove. And, I mean, they all go by once he's lost that momentum. And then off of two there, he slips up a little bit, hits the outside wall. That allows Wesser Jr. to jump to his inside as well. So that shows you there, as tight as things run here, you lose one spot. You're going to lose quite a bit more if you're not careful. Oh, man, almost some friendly fire there as a 0-0 almost got to the 97 of Mraz. Meanwhile, Michael Mueller just now taking over the lead and trying to lead a couple laps here for the first time tonight. Mraz is up only one from where he started. Again, qualified on the outside pole. As Mraz still putting the pressure on. Quentin Clark third, and then Wesser Jr., Scott Glasso, two of the maybe dark horse picks for this race. Showing some strength early, as is Jeff Shutt, trying to close up in on this battle as well. And oh, Wesser Jr. and Scott Glasso got together, getting down in the corner. That's going to cost Wes all his momentum now. Trying to hold it even here with Jeff Shutt as long as he can. Just to see, can he get back clear? Yes, he does. Nice recovery there from Wesser Jr. after getting a little bit of a bump up the track from the fourth place car of Scott Glasso. But man, I mean, you know, we talk about teams, right? They work together on setups. You know they're going to be similar, but when you see a team come out and do what these guys are doing week in and week out, especially right now, to just be running 1, 2, 3 and this close together at a track like Dover is just incredible. Oh, Mraz! Hold on to it. He does. Well, just as I started giving him props for how good the setup was, setup certainly didn't look too comfortable right there off at turn number 4. Wow, what a close call for Andrew Mraz. I don't know how he saved this race car. Watch this. Starts coming around on him, tries to stay in the throttle, realizes it's not going to work, drives it down the track, saves it. Is able to still tuck back in line to keep it 1, 2, 3 for Riot Motorsports. Man, that was close. But what I was saying was you saw Mraz running about half a lane to a lane up, and that's just him searching for clean air, anything he can get on that nose. As again, it's really, really tough here to try to drive in the wake of somebody else. Michael Mueller now with some pressure from his teammate Quentin Clark as Scott Glasso is putting pressure on Andrew Mraz. Quentin Clark, what he'd like to do is just loosen his teammate up a little bit without bumping him, but he's not even going to have to do that. He was able to get such a better run there off of turn 4 that he just simply dropped down to the inside, had the momentum into one, and just like that, we have got another lead change here on the night. Andrew Mraz still hold on to that final podium spot, but he's battling pretty fiercely right now with Scott Glasso. Jeff Shutt still behind them, looking for a bit of a tow. And the more these two race, the more it brings everybody else up into the mix. Wesser Jr. and now Jared Bundy trying to pull himself back to the mix as well. Remember, the driver that got the job done at Texas just a couple weeks ago. Had to do some strategy play, and anytime you can get a win when you don't feel like your car's at its best or you're not at your best in terms of strategy, boy, it feels even that much better because you know that you beat everybody else who had an advantage over you. That's exactly what Jared Bundy did. Looks like Wetzer Jr. is going to dive it back to the inside. Bundy, though, with a bit of an advantage here. Can he get back clear? Yes, he does. Jared Bundy, Wetzer Jr. drag race down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Continue to stay side by side. Tracy Powers back in 8th, Austin Fitzgerald in 9th, and Tyler Marble rounding out your top 10. By the way, if you're just tuning in, certainly appreciate you being here. Watching these guys go at it here tonight in the Dover 200. 200 laps at a concrete mile for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Cody Martin says best of luck to all racers. Let's go, Angel Russo. Cody Martin has been to Dover races a few times in real life. Great track to watch. It certainly looks that way too. I'll tell you what it almost reminds me of is a bigger Bristol, right? You know, we know the Great Coliseum, and Dover looks pretty similar, and drives kind of similar as well. Just a bigger form of Bristol where, of course, speeds are going to be a lot faster. Racing is going to be a little bit crazier. And now that we have 50 laps complete, we are officially 1/4 of the way through this 200-mile event. All right, with that, we're going to take our first side-by-side break tonight. You won't miss a thing. Quentin Clark leads it at Dover.
Capital Subaru, we value your time. Whether you're here for service or working with our amazing sales team, everything is right here for your convenience. We offer a great selection of Subarus, an industry-leading service center that keeps you moving, and so much more. Like our living green wall, just one of the many features throughout our dealership. Looking for the perfect pet gift? Check out Happy Paws Pet Shop right here in our lobby. Or plan your next adventure in our fireside seating and find your happy place. It's always your time at Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Welcome back to Dover Motor Speedway, the Dover 200. Might have noticed that man in the last commercial says, hey, he looks familiar. Well, that's because he's in the race here tonight. Jeff Shutt, helping bring on the Capital Auto Group sponsor. And there he is, running in the 4th position, down a spot from where he started, just outside the podium, but still looking for that first win. He's caught fire a couple times this season. There was a couple good chances, but still not quite been able to get the job done just yet. But again, it's come really, really close a couple times. The other driver cam, by the way, that we forgot to show earlier is Kyle Oakley. He's up 14 positions from where he started. Currently just inside the top 20 is, Andrew Mraz bringing it down to the pits here. Interesting, very interesting indeed for the 97. This is way earlier than we would have expected. And I'm not really sure here what's brought the 97 down. We're looking here. I don't see anybody else that's pit yet. A couple people with issues that have maybe had to pit, but nobody that's chosen to pit just for sport here. Was there an incident that we maybe missed here? Watch Tai Ippolito. Is that Mraz up in the wall? Can't tell from that view. No, that's Jeff Marble that's up in the wall. But what happens here? This is some interesting stuff. So watch Jeff here. Gets into the corner. Jeff gets out of the groove. He's going to almost clip the outside wall. He's okay, but as he comes back down, no problems there. Yikes. Tai Ippolito and Todd Shiro get together. That sends the 19 down into the inside wall. I can't believe that didn't draw the caution. That's major damage for the Dynamic Autosports driver. The rookie getting his first win last week. Watch this. Jeff Marble's coming down. That's not what causes the issue, though, right there. Just tight quarters racing. The 19 maybe expected the 6 to be up a little bit more. At the same time, he's washing down a little bit. And they collide. And again, that is really heavy contact. There's nowhere to hide here. Watch this. He's going towards the inside wall, locks it down, and doesn't matter. Boom. Destroying the left front of his Dark Horse Mustang. So that explains why Tai Ippolito would have had to bring it down for repairs. But again, not sure the deal for Mraz was. Anthony Hanley with some issues. He did not make it out on track. Adam Johnson, same deal. Jake Hickson, the last man on track. But you can see he's got some damage as well. And he currently is being scored. Looks like a couple laps down. In fact, more than a couple, 11 laps down. Andrew Russo is 3 laps down. We saw him involved in a wreck. Rachel Hunt, she is now, I believe, 3 laps down. Brett Spod, who sits in 29th, is 2 laps down, as is Brandon Saylor. Todd Shiro. Yeah, we're starting to see pit stops here. That's exactly what we're seeing. Again, it seems really, really early to be seeing this many pit stops. I mean, we had that one early caution, but it's only been, I feel like, about 20 laps. Like I said, I'm really not too sure here what the strategy call is for everybody right now. Surprised to see this many down the pits. But it seems like so far we haven't had any reported issues with people getting down to pit road. So good news there is Mark Zabok's going to make his way out. Alan Pajari in 31st. Talked about Rachel Hunt in 30th. Brett Spod in 29th. Mark Zabok 28th. And all these pit stops are putting a lot of different guys a lap down now. Quentin Clark still being scored as your leader, though. He's up by about half a second over Scott Glasso. And Michael Mueller rounding out the podium. Jeff Shutt in 4th. Austin Fitzgerald 5th. Tracy Powers back in 6th with Tyler Marble in 7th. Thomas O'Hara in 8th. Jeffrey Souza 9th. And Ryan Haynes currently rounding out your top 10. Did we get any more pit stops this time? We sure enough did. Jeff Marble, Cody Matthews, all bringing it down for fuel and full service. Looks like Cody Matthews is going to roll away. Looks like Roger Shelton is down in the pits now as well. Not sure. I don't think that's so much the planned pit stop as it is he may have had some damage. There's Jeff Marble getting back up to speed and merging back onto the high banks of Dover Motor Speedway. You can see that Jeff right now is going to be on fresh tires, so he's going to run a lot faster lap times, at least these next couple laps, than anybody else. And in fact, we'll show you what that comparison looks like. This will be his first actual lap, so we'll go up and compare it to his, some more pit stops here. And this time it's a couple of your leaders here, Scott Glasso, Jeff Shutt, and Quentin Clark. Looks like Tyler Marble and Michael Mueller as well, all bringing it down to the pit. So this will be the first stop of the night. It's going to be really interesting to see how far they make it from here. I think fall off's just so much that a lot of guys deciding it's just not worth staying out very long. But there you go. Last lap for Austin Fitzgerald was a 24.9. You'll compare that here to the last lap for Jeff Marble. Again, has just pit 23.7. So already about 1.2 seconds worth of fall off. And again, I felt like that's not even that long that they ran, maybe about 40 to 50 laps or so. And from what we heard, they can make it 80 to 90 on a tank of fuel. So I think that's, again, just kind of that byproduct of tire wear. I think it's not necessarily bad strategy call by anybody, but it'll be interesting to see, again, when you make that next stop and if you're able to set yourself up for only one more potential stop from here. If you're a guy like Jacob Musso or even Austin Fitzgerald, who's pitting right now, we'll round up to 70 laps. That gives us about 131 to go. At that point, you got to make it at least 65 laps on a set of tires right here for these next 2 runs if you want to make it on one stop. And if you don't, you pit any sooner than that, then of course you could go a little bit longer. You can see that Fitzgerald pitting the longest may work out pretty well for him here. He blends out just behind Quentin Clark and just in front of Jeff Marble. Ryan Haynes, Tai Ippolito bringing it down to the pits. As, by the way, Tai Ippolito did a little bit of update on that damage report. You see there, he has not been able to get it all fixed. And so he's really probably hoping for a caution before he's able to try to get the rest of it buffed out. Ooh, spinner. I think that's Ryan Haynes trying to come out of the pits. May have just got on the loud pedal a little too soon. All right, watch here as he comes out of the pits. There's Ty Iopolito just behind him, but 39, does he just get on the throttle too early here? Yep, sure enough, first gear and just spins. Goes right around, he lets everybody by, backs it up, gets back on his way. So Bill Benedict currently being scored as your leader. Kenneth Bartholomew in second. Matthew Geringer third with Jeffrey Souza in fourth. Andrew Mraz in fifth. Michael Mueller back in sixth. Jared Bundy in seventh. Jeff Shutt eighth. Quentin Clark ninth. And Austin Fitzgerald rounding out your top 10. By the way, right now, you see it there on the scoring pylon. Only 3 people, your top 3 that is, are on the lead lap. Everybody else is a lap down. And if we were to get a caution, that could put a lot of people in a really, really tough position. So everybody's going to keep grinding hard here if they are not the leader to try to get back that lap so that they don't have to worry about it if we were to go under a caution at any point. 74, about to be 75 laps completed here at Dover. So far, we've only had that one caution towards the start of the race, but since then, everybody's been really clean. It's been a lot of fun racing to watch, and the more things get spread out, the more it becomes a strategy race, and who can save their tires the best, have the fastest long-run car as a result. And we had a couple people with a little bit of trouble there in the pits, but nothing major, nothing that affected the flow of the race or potentially put the race in jeopardy of going under caution. As there's Kenneth Bartholomew still out on the racetrack. I was about to say, I mean, he's got to be coming in here soon, just based off the time that he's losing. And you see there, he's taking the conservative approach. He gets it to the apron way before he gets close to the pits. Actually gets down on the apron in turn 3 and then going to drive it into the pits. So Kenneth Bartholomew will lose his running position of third, but Bill Benedict, Matthew Geringer still in good position, as Bill Benedict leading some of his first laps of the season here tonight, or some of his few laps that he's led so far this season, I meant to say. Benedict had a couple of hot streaks out of the gate towards the start of the season. Mellowing out a little bit for now, but this is what you need sometimes. Don't worry about strategy, just get out there, lead a couple of laps, make things happen. Next thing you know, you got yourself right back in the rhythm. Feels like you never skipped a beat, but Bill Benedict, as it stands, is your leader. Matthew Geringer back in second, Andrew Mraz in third. So what we thought was maybe an unplanned pit stop for the 97 now seems like it was completely part of the strategy, and I gotta say it was probably a good strategy call at that, as Mraz finds himself in front of Michael Mueller by probably about half a straightaway. And so he's still got decent breathing room. His goal right here, if you're Andrew Mraz that is, would be to make it to that next pit stop without losing a spot, and hopefully taking over the lead here once Bill Benedict and Matthew Geringer decide to bring it down for their first stop. As here we go, Geringer, his first green flag stop of the night. Looks like he gets in well, no issues there. And Bill Benedict in the 90 appears like he is going to follow him in. So now this should put just about everybody that had a clean pit stop back on the lead lap, as Benedict and Geringer will take 4 tires and fill it up with fuel. With 80 laps complete, there you see everybody getting on lap now, back to at least your top 20 on the lead lap, and then it looks like it goes all the way back to 22nd, 23rd on back of the cars that are currently being scored a lap down. Mraz off of 4. Notice the gap between him and Michael Mueller. It's just under 3 seconds. We're going to watch how this develops and closes here in the course, or over the course, I guess I should say, of the next 10 to 20 laps. As again, not expecting a pit stop here. I wouldn't think any time before lap 100, just would be way too soon. As everybody wants to make sure that they can make it on the fewest stops possible while still having speed. That's why, you know, I think we're seeing a lot of people not try to stretch it, but still seeing a lot of people make sure they pit when they feel like they've worn their stuff out and it's time to get new tires. And what we've seen so far, everybody's used at least 1 set, potentially a couple people that have used 2 if you went in on that first caution. So I'd say majority of the field either has obviously 2 or 3 sets left. Interesting to see what the case was. If you've got 2 left, pretty good position to be in, especially if you're expecting to only pit 1 more time. Take that set and then have a set if this thing were to get a late caution, which is very likely here at a track like Dover. Anything can happen. We've already seen a couple of incidents here tonight. One that should have been a caution, but ultimately didn't result in one. Here's Tyler Marble back in the 8th spot. Todd Shiro just behind him in 9th, and Brandon Saylor getting ready to be on the back bumper of that 6 car. That'll be, well, right now, 410. Kyle Oakley in this mix as well, as is Brian Conklin and Tracy Powers. Jeffrey Souza's up 14 spots from where he started. I'll tell you the interesting thing to me about Jeff is he always runs so good in these races. I mean, the amount of positions he's able to make up is incredible. And he does it time and time again, yet he always chooses, or I wouldn't say chooses, but always seems to get that bad qualifying effort. Sometimes doesn't qualify, and he spends the whole race playing catch-up, which he does a great job of, but it seems like a couple times where it looks like it was all going to work out, like the cards all fell in his favor. Then all of a sudden at the end, something backfires. So again, right now he's up 14 positions from 28th where he started. Continues to climb the rankings for now, but we'll see how long that sticks around. Brian Conklin going to lose a position here to the 25 of Tracy Powers off of turn number 2. Let's go back up front. Andrew Mraz still leading Michael Mueller, but the gap has closed up by about half, now down to just under 1.5 seconds separating these two. You can see that 99 looks a little bit smoother right now through the corner, but the 97, for what it's worth, has at least a little bit, actually probably about a handful of lap older tires at the least. So the fact that Angel Mraz has held on this long, at least to me, I think that's got to count as a win. Now if he can find a way, and it's going to be tough, if he can find a way to, again, hold on or maybe not lose touch with the 99 if he gets by over the course of the next, say, 15 to 25 laps, then he actually would put himself in a really, really good position for that final green flag pit stop to stay with his teammate and have a chance to race him on pretty equal stuff. But if he loses it here and allows that 00 to pull away, it could be a different case. You saw Quentin Clark going under fire there from Bill Benedict. That is not for position. That is Bill Benedict going up there to try to get his lap back. This gap now shrinks to 0.8 seconds. We go to TV3 here. The 99 reeling him in right now. Just slowly but surely. And now you see Mraz in the distance is going to have some lap traffic that he's going to have to contend with. That's going to be really, really tough to do. We'll see how bad it affects him. Also, notice how dark the groove has gotten painted in there. In fact, I want to see something. This is back when we went green initially. And notice here, notice on the bottom of the racetrack, or well, I shouldn't say the bottom, I should say about the bottom of the middle of the racetrack. And so that's a view right about 3 and 4 region. Go back here to currently live, give you another view of that same region here, to the same camera view. And watch here. It's looking like the track's starting to fill in a little bit more as rubber continues to get put down. And that is, of course, what that darker gray area is. It's where all that rubber has been put down in terms of just overall. But so far, I mean, there's been speed in both lanes. We've seen guys pass on the top. We've seen guys pass on the bottom. And now we see a change in hand for the lead. Andrew Mraz going to lose it to his teammate here, Michael Mueller. Off of 4, Mraz caught Pajari at a bad spot. He's got to bail out, and that's going to cost him even more time now. Michael Mueller likes what he sees, and now if you're Mueller, no eyes out back, all eyes up front, trying to focus on how can you maneuver through this lap traffic the most efficient. Try to, again, pull away from your teammate, because while he is your teammate, you're out here to try to beat him still, and best way to do that is going to be to get a pretty healthy gap here before, again, what could be potentially the final pit stop. I think you kind of have to make it to at least, you know, lap 120 at the absolute least. I think more safely maybe lap 130. So if they pit before then, which they very well might, that could imply that we're going to see 2 more pit stops still. Remember what Johnny McCulchuk said, it's really, really tough to try to make it, or well, what Johnny McCulchuk told us, of course, which was that it was really, really tough to make it with the time you lose on just, you know, 1 or 2 stop. And so therefore, if you're able to pit one more time, if it's close on fuel, take those 4 tires and be able to run out there with a lot of speed versus running out there with somebody who's trying to play defense and save fuel. Not a fun spot to be in at all, let me just tell you now. Jacob Musso for the Musso Speed Shop is back in 13th. He's up 16 positions from where he started this race at. He was very optimistic about Talladega last week. Didn't quite work out, but nonetheless, good to see him back here this week. 94, going to be 95 laps complete when we cross the stripe this next time. So that puts us just a handful of laps over 100 laps to go in this race. Again, talked about, it's one of the longer races of the season, and it really shouldn't come as too much of a surprise in the sense of, I mean, it's Dover, it's fast, but at the same time, 200 miles feels like a lot here. In fact, as we talked about the race here tonight, gives us a chance to pop up the schedule and talk about some of the races that we've got coming up in the near future. And so, looking first, before we get into the schedule, at what points are like after 10 races in the season. Jeff Marble, captain for Team Marble iRacing, leads in the points category. Austin Fitzgerald in second. Tai Iopolito in third. Tyler Marble in fourth. Jake Hickson in fifth. Michael Mueller in sixth. Kyle Oakley in seventh, with Andrew Mraz in eighth. Quentin Clark in ninth, and Danny Gutierrez running out your top 10 in points for now. As for the upcoming schedule, next week we will head to Kansas. I will not be here for that race. I will be in Las Vegas, so see if we can get a fill-in from Bryce, the channel owner, for that one. But 134 laps there is going to be good for sure. And then it's off to Darlington for the Lady in Black, and then we head to North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race. Then we head to Charlotte for what will officially go down as the longest race of the season. That is a 1.5 mile track, which we're going to run 2 laps there, which is 300 miles in total, of course. Followed by Gateway, Sonoma, Iowa, New Hampshire, Nashville, and then Chicagoland, rounding out on, or a little bit down the road. $99 of 200 laps now complete. No battle for the lead. Brett Spod trying to get a lap back here from the 99 of Mueller, but it's going to be a futile effort. Just doesn't have the speed right now out of that car to do anything. And Mueller has been on rails ever since he got by Mraz. In fact, Mraz may be struggling a little bit, but he is holding his own right here. Again, just hoping that we can get to that next pit stop. The sooner the better. He probably would be somebody that would be okay with seeing a caution right now, actually. Of course, you know, there's a lot of guys, though, in the same boat that are saying, or in a similar boat, but are saying no caution. So that could hurt their race. By the way, Jeff Marble, who had a couple of struggles earlier after, you know, of course, qualifying on the pole and having a fast car, is now back in 6th, down 5 positions where he started this race from. So 101 of 200 laps officially complete here at the Monster Mile. We're going to take another quick break, but we'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Michael Mueller leads it at Dover.
Capital Subaru, we value your time. Whether you're here for service or working with our amazing sales team, everything is right here for your convenience. We offer a great selection of Subarus, an industry-leading service center that keeps you moving, and so much more. Like our living green wall, just one of the many features throughout our dealership. Looking for the perfect pet gift? Check out Happy Paws Pet Shop right here in our lobby. Or plan your next adventure in our fireside seating and find your happy place. It's always your time at Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
Welcome back to the Dover 200 for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Now over halfway, but not all the way home because we are still again expecting at least one more green flag stop. Strategy this race, though, definitely through the broadcasting team, of course being myself for a loop here tonight. With what we heard from what we saw at least with that first green flag stop, certainly didn't match up too well. However, I think the reason that is because it was a part of a little bit of a longer strategy. And again, got to make it this time here, probably at least lap 120 to have a chance at the strategy we think these guys might pull off. If you go any sooner than that, just don't see any way it works out. Andrew Mraz, the strategy of short pitting does not seem like it's worked out too well for the 97. He is now faded back to fifth place after leading there for a little bit. And once he lost the lead, lost that clean air, well, it's like this car just fell off of a cliff. And you see he's still struggling as him and Mark Zabak there, both with some slight contact to the outside wall. Mueller just continues to try to stretch his gap over the rest of the field. In fact, he has it to 2 seconds. Now, the biggest mover, and while being the biggest mover, the man who's kind of been creeping in the shadows is Austin Fitzgerald. You know, I know we say it a lot, but we mentioned two names when we talk about the guys who love long runs. And it's Austin Fitzgerald and Jeff Marble. Jeff Marble had some trouble here tonight, but Austin Fitzgerald, now that we are in the point where we've had our longest run of the night here, and it's been a long one at that, too. Let me tell you now, if this thing continues to go green, this run will have been potentially about 70 to 80 laps, just depending on when you decide to go in here. Now, it's actually, well, maybe not quite that long, more like 60 or so. Point being, we've been running this for a while, and Austin Fitzgerald, I'm thinking he probably had that car set up to be good on the long run, and right now he runs in second. Does he have anything for your leader? Well, let's find out. Here's what the lap times are showing. And in fact, we'll take down his profile picture. 24-7. Actually, here you go. It's compared him directly there. The last 2 laps, Austin Fitzgerald was a little bit faster. That last lap, though, was Michael Mueller who was again faster. So right now, they're both kind of trading lap times. And, of course, lap traffic can play a big role in that. But I think the point is, you know, Austin Fitzgerald, he's not out of this thing yet. Even if we do go green here the rest of the way, Michael Mueller can't necessarily count it as a win just yet. Especially if this 74 starts to find a little speed here. That's not what he wants to see, because every time that car slips up there on the outside exit of a turn, it costs him some time and wears out those tires. And you see that time, Michael Mueller was actually 3/100ths of a second faster. Those little gaps, again, they add up over time. Both guys running a very similar line. Michael Mueller right now, the one who has a little bit more speed, and based off when he pit, I think Austin Fitzgerald actually has a little bit of a better strategy, but we'll see. Does Fitzgerald maybe risk it to try to short pit, or does he feel like the long game worked out pretty well the first time and try it again? He's going to have to do something here to try to catch up to the 99. Now, of course, he still has plenty of natural laps in terms of, about 85 laps or so to go, so he could just track him down based off of raw speed, but I think he's going to need a little bit of an aid in that, and that could very well be the final green flag stop. And when we see everybody pitting, and of course, when we see that 74 pit, Michael Mueller still with a phenomenal job. Let's go back, see how the rest of the field is doing here. Anthony Hanley, Adam Johnson, Roger Shelton, all off track still, 34th through 36th. And then Jay Kickson, the last man on track, in 33rd. Andrew Russo, 32nd. Christopher Hall, 31st, with Johnny McCulchuk in 30th. Brett Spod in... more pit stops. Oh, what is going on here? Multiple different pit stops all of a sudden out of the blue to a degree. As Brian Conklin, Rachel Hunt, 26th, 27th, and then Brett Spod, 28th. Looks like Alan Bajari, Mark Sabak, 29th and 30th, and then again Christopher Hall, 31st. But that group that I was just mentioning, all the names before we got to Christopher Hall, they all brought it into the pits here. And it seems a little bit early to me, but I guess not. I mean, I just think what that's saying, though, is that everybody that just pit right there, they're going to have to pit again unless they're going to try to stretch this thing 80, 84 laps or so. That's, again, a long ways to go based off what we've seen for the first 2 stops here tonight. I just don't know if that would necessarily be the best strategy call. Meanwhile, up front, Michael Mueller, no signs of pitting for him. Same deal for Austin Fitzgerald and Jeff Shutt. Quentin Clark, Andrew Mraz, 2 other Riot Motorsports rookies that are not in the lead, of course, rounding out the top 5. And we talked about lap traffic and how this track looks very similar to Bristol. If we go back to your leader, Michael Mueller, he's getting ready to get into a very, very dense patch of lap traffic. And this is where sometimes as a driver, it gets a little bit tricky to work through it all. You start wanting to make these eager moves, but you just got to know that you've got a 2-second gap. No point in rushing it. So when he gets to some of these battles where these lappers are still 2x2, try to give them a lap or two, maybe let them sort it out, or make sure that you have enough momentum to get clear of them before you put yourself in a bad spot if you decide to do so. Again, Austin Fitzgerald, I said still has a chance, but anybody else, Jeff Shutt on back. It's a great run, by the way, for Jeff Shutt sitting in third, but the point is, any of these guys, they need a caution. They really do to have any chance, but here we go. Jeff Shutt is going to bring it down to the pits here. First man in the top 5 to bring it down to the pits. And looks like he's going to get in pretty smooth, pretty clean. And so this will be really, really close here for Jeff Shutt, and very interesting to see if this is his last stop, as he's kind of right on that marker of, could make it, maybe can't, depending on how much tire you wear, depending on how much fuel you're burning. It's close. I definitely think it's doable, but we'll have to see, because again, with the 2 strategy plays we've seen so far, really wouldn't be shocked if we do indeed see one more pit stop here tonight. So he brings it in. Team's going to jack up the right side of the car. Then they'll jack up the left side, give him 4 tires and fuel. Send him out. Speaking of going out, there's the 24 of Brandon Saylor. And there is your leader, Michael Mueller. Gap up another 0.3 of a second now over Austin Fitzgerald. And then Quentin Clark just now crossing the stripes. And he is back pretty far from Austin Fitzgerald. In fact, he's back about almost 8.5 seconds. As Jeffrey Souza is back just over 11. So on and so forth. And each lap that goes by, too, especially as we're in the middle of the pit sequence, is the more and more people that are going to get put a lap down. Now, I will say, I think part of the reason that you don't want a short pit if you're one of the top guys is you always run that risk of if you go in, caution comes out, messes you up here. Ooh, Johnny McCulloch with some trouble. And Pajari as well. Uh-oh. There it is. Caution's out. Saw some trouble with McCulloch and a couple others. Pajari is around, as is Johnny McCulloch. And all of a sudden, this race has been flipped on its lid. Boy, it was a long, long run. But it finally comes to an end with your only second caution of the night here for an incident between Johnny McCulloch and Alan Pajari. So here we go. The 72 was spun around. Did he get some help here? I gotta think he did. You usually don't see guys just simply spin around here. So Johnny's got a great big run to the back here, the 97 of Andrew Mraz. And as he gets there, he's got to kind of try to, I guess, check up here because the 97 just doesn't quite have the speed that the 72 maybe thinks he does. And that starts sending Mraz around. Again, Johnny McCulloch checking up to keep it off of him. Alan Pajari had a great big run and just nowhere to go with it. Runs into the left rear of Johnny McCulloch. And then, boom. There's the big hit to the inside wall for Pajari. Johnny McCulloch's going to tag the inside safer barrier 2. However, I don't think his damage was necessarily race-ending. That's a big break for Mraz, who he was definitely struggling right there as Johnny McCulloch washed back up the track. That was really, really close. Let's give you a couple different angles of this one here. First one from TV3. And it's slight contact is all it takes. And just difference in tire there, I think. One guy had better tire wear than the other, more speed late in the run, and just misjudged a little bit. At least Johnny McCulloch, that is, I think, did. And so I don't think Johnny gets too much damage. I think both drivers, of course, are going to be able to continue here. I guess I should say all three, but I'm referring more to Johnny McCulloch and Alan Pajari. But I still think they're going to be able to continue. I don't think the damage that they got was terminal per se, but Pajari getting the worst of it. And I definitely think that'll take Pajari's chances of winning or even a good finish away, as aero is pretty important here at a track like Dover. All right, so as we go back live up front, Michael Mueller being scored as your leader. As you see, he brings it down to the pits, and that caution came out at a bad time for some and a great time for others. Michael Mueller loved when that caution came out because he gets to come in and basically get free service without having to worry about going down during green and potentially having what just happened there, getting yourself trapped a lap down due to a caution. And then the rest is a mess. But we won't have to worry about that as we'll go back green with about 130 laps complete, maybe give or take. Great week of officials for iRacing, by the way. For any drivers watching, make sure you go check out some of the things here tonight. And so Danny G says, Austin, the reason why Souza starts at the back is because he joins the server after 8:45. The rule states that if you join after 8:45, it's an end of the longest line penalty. Well, I didn't know that. Interesting. We certainly appreciate that, Danny. Heard that you could not, of course, make tonight. Got home a little late, but we appreciate you tuning in. And I appreciate you responding to that Discord message. Yeah, I mean, I was just getting ready to say, but it's an exciting week in officials as well for these guys. Dover here tonight in the league race, but then for the week, you got Kansas for the NASCAR series, and then you've got Daytona for ARCA and Gen 4. And then go over to the roadside. One of the tracks I've been waiting months and months for. IMSA is at Spa. So for anybody in the racing community, make sure you go out and check out some of the officials this week. Bunch of good ones, but that's a very interesting note on what Danny said. And hearing that, boy, it makes you wonder if Souza got the opportunity here to get, you know, a good starting position in one of these races. He may very well be a fighter for the win because he is, even without that good starting spot. As you see, he's in 4th right now, up 24 positions from where he started this race. Jeffrey Souza is one of the higher I-rating guys in here too, for what it's worth. 5,505. As you saw, we got the delayed green, so we're going to go around, get some extra fuel saving. So who do you got as a winner here? I mean, if I had to pick, I don't know. I'd almost like to say Austin Fitzgerald, but that caution really did not come out at a good time. Now, Michael Mueller does have some guys that he's going to have to work around here, but he's got the freshest tires of them all. So we'll see what happens. But it is indeed going to be, it looks like 71 laps to go exactly. We go back green here at Dover. And with 70 to go, looking at the fuel and tires, they should, in theory, be able to make it the rest of the way without pitting. We'll see if anybody decides to. And now, of course, if we get a caution anytime, maybe 10 laps or so after we do go back green, then I think that would secure the deal of everybody comes into pits, tops off on fuel. Maybe a little bit of a split decision on if you take that last tire set or not. You come right back out. All right, Austin Fitzgerald on the inside. Talked about how good he was in the long run. Getting ready to find out how good he is on the short run also. The question of what can Jeffrey Souza do here. Roll off in row 2 with Tyler Marble on his outside, and then Jared Bundy and Jeff Marble rounding out row number 3. And then, by the way, Jeff Marble just kind of starting to recover. I think Jeff actually kind of needed that caution with some of the struggles he had earlier, and a couple of the big momentum losses he had that cost him all the track position that it did. All right, here we go. Austin Fitzgerald, he's got the field in his hand, getting ready to go back to green flag racing as the pace car makes the left turn. 130 of 200 laps complete. Back into the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air at Dover. Good restart for the first 2 rows. Well, Souza actually gets caught sleeping a little bit, as does Jeff Marble. So it's going to be no contest for Austin Fitzgerald into turn 1 as he gets clear of Quentin Clark. Quentin Clark, trying to dive back to the inside. The 00 does so. Power move from Quentin Clark down the backstretch. And he's going to try to dive it clear here of Austin Fitzgerald. He's able to do just that. Further back, they're still 2x2 trying to get a couple things sorted out. Doesn't look like anybody tags the wall, though. Bill Benedict on the outside of Jacob Musso. He's going to have to ride the top groove into turn number 1. Jeff Marble able to find a spot in line, and just like that, your top 15, top 20, all single file out. In fact, there's a little bit of a break in the pack here. A break in the pack, if you will. And then Andrew Russo, one of the guys back here, racing alongside a couple of them, as is Christopher Hall, Brian Conklin, Mark Zabak, Kyle Oakley. And they all need to get this sorted out. You don't want that front group getting too far away. Again, it's not like a Daytona or a Talladega, where, of course, you know, the draft is super duper important, but you just don't want to lose touch of the guys in front of you, because the further away they get, of course, the longer it's going to take to catch up. So looks like they will go ahead and get it back down to single file action for the most part, as Quentin Clark crosses the stripe. That is 133 of 200 laps now complete. 133 miles, maybe just a little bit more. Austin Fitzgerald second and still hanging on pretty tight. He's not going to let this 00 get too far away, I don't think. I think what he's just trying to do, though, is hold on to the position he's got. Let these tires wear out a bit. And they go put the fight back to the Riot Motorsports rookie, who, again, has already got himself a win on the season. Didn't take too long either. I mean, well, we saw Riot Motorsports come out of the gate firing. But I'm talking about for Quentin Clark in general. Did not take him long to find victory lane. Of course, got the job done at Phoenix, one of the short tracks that we went to this season. And Dover, not considered a short track, kind of fits in the middle and uncharted territory, as it is a 1 mile concrete oval. So again, not really necessarily a set category. Can't call it a mile and a half, can't call it a short track, and definitely can't call it a super speedway, but seems to have characteristics of them all. Certainly a track that, again, has been a lot of fun to watch here tonight so far. It's going to be a lot of fun the rest of the way, too, especially if we can keep this thing green and potentially see some more strategy come into play. Matthew Geiringer, Jeff Shutt side by side. That's the battle for 15th. Looks like Jeff Shutt is going to be able to prevail. Yes, he does. Jeff Shutt thought about taking one more peek to the inside again. He's not going to be able to do it, though, as Matthew Geiringer stuck on the outside now. Scott Glasso with another little peek and just couldn't quite get to his quarter panel. Couldn't get a side draft. Therefore, couldn't get back. Let's hop to an onboard view here. She'll go back here to Kyle Oakley, who's kind of in the middle of all this chaos, or at least has a pretty good view of it. Go back and show you again what kind of the general line here that these guys run at a track like Dover. And it's that kind of diamond approach, at least if you're by yourself. Watch this. As you get into the corner, you arc it low as you can, at least. Wash up a little bit and then arc it all the way back down to the apron before you wash up. That's the best way to get the car to rotate. So Kyle Oakley rolling the center very well now as he's trying to catch back up to Brian Conklin here as caution's out. Trouble. Jeff Shutt has crashed as the 27 comes to a halt down by the apron. And what has happened here? Jeff Shutt has destroyed, I'm not going to go as far as say destroyed, but definitely injured the right front of his Capolato Group Chevy Camaro. See, is it still steer straight? It does, so no terminal damage, but just saw on the driver cam a little bit of frustration at a Shutt. Kind of hit the steering wheel there, and you can't blame him. He's not happy. I mean, he had a great run going, and I've talked about it earlier in the broadcast that so close so many times, and does he get a little help here? Let's see. Go to the chopper view. That's Jacob Moose on his outside. He does. Yikes. Yeah, it's very frustrating as a driver, too, especially when you're having a night that Jeff Shutt was. But, you know, he got buried back in traffic. Made that early pit stop. Was hoping things would cycle out so the strategy would play. And Jacob Musso just gets out of the groove. And talked about when you're carrying this much momentum out of the corner and you make any mistake, you're going to hit that outside wall. When he does, similar to what we saw with Roger Shelton earlier, well, he doesn't really bounce off of it, I wouldn't say. In fact, on second look, Jeff Shutt definitely working his way up the racetrack a little bit. I want to go to the chopper cam. Actually, we're on the chopper cam, but I want to get a bit more of a better angle. So watch this here. As Musso's up the track. Musso hits the wall, but he keeps it up there. Musso doesn't come off the wall when he at least initially hits it. I think the problem was that Jeff Shutt may have also gotten tight or slipped up. And so, yeah, now you see his car shooting straight, and maybe he was hoping that Musso was going to get clear and he would have a straight shot up behind him. Whatever the case was, it just didn't work out. And it was slight contact, but it was enough to send that 27 around into the inside wall. And fortunately got another good car and Scott Glasso involved as well. Let's go to the cockpit view here for Jeff Shutt. Again, let's take a listen here, see if there's anything. Oh, that's what it is. That's a really tough spot. He just gets loose there. He catches it initially, and then I think maybe he feels like it's getting a little bit loose again on exit. Tries to steer it back, and wow, you saw that was huge damage for Scott Glasso. He might have got the worst of this one. He T-bones Jeff Shutt. Just nowhere to go, and then going to tag the inside wall as well. All right, so as we go back live, up front, 142 of 200 laps now complete at the Monster Mile, and it is the 00 of Quentin Clark being scored as your leader. Austin Fitzgerald second, Tyler Marble in third, Jared Bundy in fourth, Andrew Mraz in fifth, Michael Mueller sixth, Jeffrey Souza back in seventh with Jeff Marble in eighth, Thomas O'Hara ninth, and Bill Benedict rounding out your top 10. Up 10, by the way, where he started, Bill Benedict, that is. We'll see if we get the one to go signal this time. Let's see if we can get a quick word here from Austin Fitzgerald and the day he's been having so far and the way his car's feeling right now. You know what? Actually, I'll tell you what. Instead, I apologize to do this, but I want to see if we can actually get a word here with Jeffrey Souza, because he's been having a stellar night, and Danny's got me more curious on how he does this coming from the back to the front each and every week. So let's see if we can bring him up here for a quick word. Hey, Jeffrey Souza, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Austin, how's it going?
Good. Well, man, you know, we finally figured out the reason why you always start from the back. I was sitting here trying to figure it out. I'm like, he's always coming to the front, but he starts at the back and gets caught up in a lot of trouble. But here you are again. You managed to find a way to do it. You're up to 7th, up 21 from where you started. How you feeling about your chances of carving your way through the rest of these leaders and maybe capturing your first win here on the night?
Well, yeah, if you say you found the reason out, I do race another league on Monday nights, and I didn't think I was going to have a chance in that one, and I won. So I didn't think I was going to have a chance tonight, and the car's good. Big thanks to Tom back there behind me for getting this thing wound up, and, you know, he's been kicking some butt this week on track, and that long run was all we needed. That setup really is on fire on the long run, so hopefully we get another long run here. We go green here to the finish.
Potential for a long one. All right, well, we appreciate you talking to us. Good luck the rest of the way, and we'll see if you can get that first win.
Yeah, boy, thank you.
All right, put him back down to his team. Triad Racing Enterprises. All right, here we go. Green flag back in the air. 144 laps complete at Dover. And it's another relatively good restart, at least for the first two rows. Further back, same deal. Everybody spreading out, two, maybe a couple of three wide moments as everybody tries to find whatever position they can get. And none of the restarts that we've had tonight have really been packed super close together with a lot of bumping and banging. I mean, they've gotten spread out and single file pretty quickly. Fortunately for Austin Fitzgerald this time, though, not able to hang quite as close to the 00, at least not yet. The good news is, though, that he did fend off the 48 of Tyler Marble. So now he can try to set himself up to start to close in a little bit, if you will, on that 00. And now he'll have 55 laps to do so when they cross the line this time. And now I would say, by the way, for sure, I just don't see a pit stop unless it's we get a caution and somebody pits for tires. But besides that, I just don't see any way you can. Now, Andrew Mraz still might be in the catbird seat here based off of when he pit, based off of when everybody else pit. We'll have to see here, though. That 97 looks fast right now. Maybe he's going with the strategy of just trying to get the position and then hoping if we get a late caution, he can either go in, take tires, or just get the rest of that track position. But what he really needs to watch out for is the man just behind him, his teammate, Michael Mueller. Talked about these guys being on fresher stuff than anybody else in the field, and they know how important it is to get to the front of this field as quick as possible in case we start getting a couple strings of cautions here. That is exactly what they are trying to do. Jared Bundy still hanging strong in the mix as well. He is in 6th. But up front, it is still all Quentin Clark. You see Jeff Marble working the top groove just behind Jeffrey Souza, who sits in 7th. You heard Souza say that he's got a stellar long-run car, needs this thing to go green for quite a while. Quentin Clark in the 00, maybe on the opposite playing field here. What he really needs is for these guys to hold off his teammates a little bit longer, but it just doesn't look like it's happening here. Austin Fitzgerald on the inside. The 99 of Michael Mueller looking for a bit of a crossover here off of 2. Not going to be able to do it. That allows Mraz to try to scoot away just a little bit more here as the 99 remains aero trapped, if you will, behind the Dynamic Auto Sports driver. Mraz now kind of in an aero lock position of his own here, sitting behind Tyler Marble. And those tires, I got to think they'll even out a little bit as the run goes on here. The longer they're stuck behind the cars they're trying to pass. Quentin Clark, though, has got the gap up front up to almost half a second here. Not quite that far, at least not just yet. But there's the 74 Fitzgerald. The 99, does he look for a move this time? No, he doesn't. It's actually the 48. Almost thought about making a pass right back there on the 97 as Mraz looked to the inside and then got by, but Mraz able to make it stick. And now he will set his sights on the Riot Motorsports, on his Riot Motorsports teammate, Quentin Clark. Meanwhile, Mueller continues to remain trapped, and everybody else has single filed out, at least to the middle portions of the field. A little bit of 2x2 action towards the back here. Trying to figure out exactly who it was. Looks like that's the 19 of Ty Iopolito and the 34 of Alan Pajari. I don't think that's for a position at this point. So it's, as those two have both had a really, really tough night with a couple different incidents. 00 crosses the stripe. Now to take 153, 200 laps complete. Tyler Marble still hanging strong. Boy, Austin Fitzgerald, he does not want to give up this spot to Michael Mueller. He knows how important it is, but the 99 finally is going to get to his right rear quarter panel. He'll get to the outside. Gotta pinch him down here to get the run off the corner. Is he able to do so? Oh, tags the outside wall. That allows Fitzgerald to hold even. Will Fitzgerald let him go? No, he doesn't. 99's clear, but he's got to get to the bottom of the racetrack, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Slows the middle of the corner down. Drops down. Got around one. Now he needs to get around number 2, which is Tyler Marble. You see, able to run right up on his back bumper. We'll see, is he able to hook it a little bit lower here down the straight. No dice, not able to do so, at least not that time. As we'll go to the gearbox view here for Tyler Marble. Now, I say gearbox, but pretty soon here it's getting ready to be right rear. As you see, the 99 was looking around for any clean air that he can get on the nose of his car. By the way, update on Jeff Shutt, who we saw involved in that last wreck. He sits in 21st. Car looks to be cleaned up a little bit. The left rears, or the right rear rather, still with some damage, as you see him get into that outside wall. A little bit of damage on the right side as well. But, you know, sitting in that spot with this many laps left, you know, he's a lap down. If we get a caution, he's not even the lucky dog spot either right now. He's racing a couple guys for it. But even if we get a couple cautions, just don't know, you know, with what's only going to be about 40 laps to go here pretty soon, if there's enough time, that 27, to get back in the fight. Austin Fitzgerald still back in third. Jared Bundy now going to take a spot away from Tyler Marble, as what seemed like with the 99 got by the 48 there. All of a sudden, Tyler has started to fade here pretty quickly. Trying to hold on as long as he can. Jeffrey Souza up to 6th. And he could be looking for 5th here momentarily himself. Jeff Marble back in 7th. Jacob Musso in 8th. And all this single file action, you know, it makes me think that everybody is, again, pretty content in terms of fuel mileage. You know, I think if you felt like you were going to have to pit again, you'd be maybe going a little bit more aggressive for the track position spots right now. But everybody just seems to be kind of trying to keep it clean, keep the flow of the race pretty smooth here. But the urgency will really start to set in, I would say, probably with about, you know, 25 laps or so to go. And we're going to hit 40 miles to go here at the stripes this time. And the gap between first and second is still about a second. So Andrew Mraz has not necessarily closed, or hasn't necessarily started reeling in his teammates just yet. I think he will here, just a matter of time. But by the way, what happened to Michael Mueller? Big mistake. And I completely missed this. I apologize, but what happened to the Riot Motorsports teammate who was doing a great? He's in the pits now. What happened here? It's Michael Mueller. Oh, man. The fastest car on the racetrack. He's heavily damaged. He hit something. That's what happened. He hit something, and he hit something really, really hard. Oh, man, what a turn of events this is. Did not see how this happened at all. For Michael Mueller, we got to back up and find out. Yeah, he hit the outside wall. He hit it hard, too. Well, this would explain it here. He got around Fitzgerald and talked about, look to the inside here of Tyler Marble. This was right as he completed the pass. Ooh. Youch. That's a hard shot to the outside wall for Michael Mueller. Watch this here. Does Tyler come down or does the 99 come up? Oh, then neither. There's some net code there, I think. Unless the 99 got loose, but it almost didn't look like that. It looked like there was a little bit of net code. Let's go to the onboard view here for Michael Mueller and see if that was the case. Yeah, well, no. Maybe not. There was a slight adjustment of the wheel that goes back to straight right here. Watch this. Watch the wheel. Gets a little bit loose right in the bottom, and watch when he hooks it right there. That spot right there, I think, is where this catches, and I think that's what's going to get him in trouble. As, yep, that slight go up. Tyler Marble, he's racing hard for it. He's still technically there. Now, granted, the 99's probably thinking he's going to move up the track at least a little bit, and I think Tyler maybe could have given him just a little bit of room. However, the 48 has all the right to race as hard as he wants, and, I mean, he was there. You cannot argue that he was there. And, he knows how important his positions are late in the race, and certainly nothing intentional by either driver there, but just that slight slip-up by Mueller going across the nose of Tyler Marble. And this is a big hit into that outside wall. Wouldn't be shocked if that broke some suspension. As, yeah, it did. Look at the wheel. Not straight at all anymore. That is a really, really tough break there for Michael Mueller. Had what had kind of started to look like the fastest car on the night, and it's not going to matter anymore. He won't have anything to show for it at the end of this one. Give you one more view there from TV3. Again, lucky, though, that was not bigger than it was and that did not bring out caution. Apologize tonight. I know we've missed a couple of the big things. We try to cover it. Seems like they like to have these little incidents when we go to a different portion of the field to check on what else is going on. But nonetheless, that's the beauty of replays. And right now, Quentin Clark would like a replay of Phoenix here to see if he could get himself another win on the season. Mraz is pushing it hard. I mean, you can see here on the front of his car, similar to his teammate Michael Mueller, but obviously not as bad, that right side, and he's going to scrape it up a little bit more there off of turn number 4, but he continues to beat it up here pretty good. And that's just the sign of a driver who continues to push and is really, really going for it. And again, bumping slightly off that outside wall a couple times doesn't hurt you. Sometimes can maybe help you just a little bit. If you got a big run and you just slightly touch it, but it's easy to get stuck that outside wall. And this is the other issue here, is that when you're Mraz and you start pushing it this hard, I think you're starting to over push it, and in turn you're starting to actually lose more speed that you could have for the long run by saving it. Yeah, this looks like a little better that time, but man, he had a big wiggle off before. You saw it from the rear chase cam, just how sideways he got, and it's just so tough as a driver. You see the car that you're trying to track down that close in your windshield. You want to get there so bad, but this just isn't the way to do it. I think Mraz needs to try to just take the exit a little bit easier here. He's not going to be able to catch Quentin Clark here if he keeps getting as loose as he is here. He is scrubbing off a ton of tire here, each and every set of corner. And I don't know if this thing's going to be able to hold on to a podium at this rate if he starts scrubbing off this much tires. You see, maybe just tap the wall that time as well. But here you go, shark in the water. Austin Fitzgerald, he's just under 2 seconds back, 30 laps to go. He needs to start closing this gap up. However, my point is, it's not over just yet. If Fitzgerald had been saving some tire here, which he very well may have been, to start this run, he may now start to slowly track down these two leaders, as Mraz now slips past a second. The hard part for Fitzgerald is even if he starts running faster, it's going to be a tough pass for Mraz, and he really can't afford to waste much time at this point in the race trying to get around that 97. Fitzgerald managed to keep the car pretty clean here tonight. Done a good job. Looking to see if he can get some momentum to carry into Kansas next week. Kansas is going to be a very opportunistic track for a lot of drivers. It's 1.5 miles, and it's one that runs, I wouldn't say it's easy to run, hard to master, be super fast at, but there's, again, another track where you can run 3 lanes, wrapping the apron in the middle of the racetrack, and all the way by the wall, which a lot of guys love at Kansas, so that'll certainly be a fun one. See who's able to get the win there as Mraz slips up again. That's what Fitzgerald needs, and there he goes. 74 looking to the inside here. This is a big pass. He needs to make this work. See, though, Mraz is not going to let him have it easy. The 97 is going to try to push it off. Does he have the grip to do it? Yes, he does. They will stay side by side and drag race down the back into 3. The longer they race, they might be able to pull Jared Bundy right into this mix as well. And also, the longer they race, the more it allows your leader to pull away. And oh, Fitzgerald just not quite going to be able to hold on to it right there. So as he falls back to 3rd, Mraz will retain that 2nd spot. Fitzgerald's going to size him up again here. We'll hop back on the onboard as Mraz taps the outside wall. I think Fitzgerald did the same. Fitzgerald's going to try a diamond approach here. He's going to look for a better run on exit. Look for the crossover. Here we go. Trying to set it up. Mraz tried to defend low as long as he can. Can't not do it. The 97 into the outside wall. This is brought. Oh, Bundy's going to get the 97. Oh, no. Mraz saves it. Does everybody else save it? They do. Jared Bundy sailed it in there, and, you know, Mraz was out of shape, but not as out of shape as he was right there. What a save. He was laying down his own tire tracks. Watch this one again. Just a product going for it at the end here. And these two have been battling so hard for so long, but Jared Bundy, he got right up in the mix here. He's got to run. He's going to try to dive to the inside, and I think Bundy just doesn't quite get low enough in the corner, you know, on entry to the corner here. But at the same time, I think he's expecting the 97 to stay up, and the 97 of Mraz does start to duck down. Not sure if he was going to try to cover or just try to run the middle, but the point is, they make contact, and oh my goodness, I thought for sure Mraz was either going in the wall, spinning around, or then when he saved it, coming back down the track, and he didn't do any of them, and somehow the entire field kept it off of him. What a save. Watch it one more time here from the cockpit view. 90 degrees to the right, locks it down. Man, what a save. So as we go back live, that has knocked Mraz all the way back to 9th. Still hanging on to the top 10, but I don't think Austin Fitzgerald's going to have enough left. 22 laps to go, and the gap is almost 2.5, or actually over 2.5 seconds, with no pit stops remaining. We're going to take one more side-by-side break, but we will be back for the conclusion of the Dover 200. Can Quentin Clark hold on? Stay with us to find out.
Capital Subaru, we value your time, whether you're here for service or working with our amazing sales team. Everything is right here for your convenience. We offer a great selection of Subarus, an industry-leading service center that keeps you moving, and so much more. Like our living green wall, just one of the many features throughout our dealership. Looking for the perfect pet gift? Check out Happy Paws Pet Shop right here in our lobby. Or plan your next adventure in our fireside seating and find your happy place. It's always your time at Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
$15 laps to go in the Dover 200 for the FastTrack Sim Racing Cup Series. Quentin Clark looking to see if he can cap off with a win here at the Monster Mile tonight. Boy, there was a little bit of strategy, call it strategy adversity here for the 00, but his teammate tried to chase him down, couldn't do it, and now it's Austin Fitzgerald trying to do the same. And as I said before we went to break, I'm not sure that he has enough time to do it. And so with just 14 laps to go, the biggest enemy to that 00 now is that yellow flag, and he does not want to see it. Again, he's already got 1 win on the season, looking for number 2 here tonight. Best way to get it here, the way this car is driving, is going to be to go these next 13 laps. Well, 12 now as they cross the stripe without a caution. He does have some lap traffic in his windshield that he may have to contend with. Don't think it's too much. Well, actually, I take that back. That's a pretty good little group here. And he is going to catch these guys probably within the next 2 to 3 laps. Now, we'll see who lets him by, who doesn't. And the 35 here isn't going to be so much of an issue. That's Brett Spot. It's going to be that group in front of him that's side by side and racing hard for position. If he catches them while they're 2 by 2, that could certainly be a big holdup. So we're going to stick on board here for the next couple laps and watch this all pan out. Gets around the 35 without issue there. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about, this side by side. This is not what he likes to see here. And looks like these two are going to go ahead and give him a little bit of clean air. They'll go high. Respectful driving there from Christopher Hall and Andrew Russo. But off the turn, you hear him hit the wall. Man, I know that's got to be scary as the leader. Man, Quentin Clark, he lost a ton of time right there as a result. Fitzgerald closed it to under 2 seconds for just a moment. But Fitzgerald, to be fair, is going to have to go through the same traffic. Tyler Marble, what in the world has happened, first of all, to this car? And how is this thing even driving? I'm assuming this may have been from the damage. Oh, ouch. Somebody slammed into the outside wall. I can't even tell who that was. We got guys struggling all over the place here in the last 10 laps. I got to go back to Tyler Marble, though. Look at this. Look at the left front on this car. I don't even understand how this thing is out there driving. I mean, it's destroyed. You see, it's the tire where he would blow a tire in like 10 laps if this was anything realistic. I cannot believe this car is out and running right now. Go to the cockpit view, and that is wild to me. That is absolutely wild to me that car is running out on track. Look at it. Left front suspension is like 45 degrees locked to the left. And nonetheless, he's just trying to limp this thing home, and he's still making passes. Quentin Clark sees that in his windshield, and I'm sure that's making him a little bit nervous. 8 laps to go now. Austin Fitzgerald now down to 1.5 seconds between him and your leader. 1.3, Quentin Clark. Did he burn his stuff up? I don't know. But man, Fitzgerald certainly looks really, really smooth right here. Here's this group. He's got to get around these guys right here. He's got to find a way. Does he split 3 wide? Oh, he doesn't. He's going to have to yield here. Needs Christopher Hall to get around and get up the racetrack. There goes the 38. Oh, but this is costing Fitzgerald valuable time. He just doesn't have it. He doesn't have it, as that'll cost him another 10th here. He does get clear, though. This thing may not be over just yet here. Let's watch these lap times over the course of the next couple laps. Fitzgerald is still going to try to track down Clark, and I don't think, the last 5 laps, Clark has been slower. So Fitzgerald has found something. That last lap, though, changed. Of course, Clark was 0.3 faster as Fitzgerald caught the lap traffic. Point being, what's it going to be here? There's Fitzgerald. There's Clark. See, there's not much lap traffic. 3 guys ahead. I don't know if they'll get there in time. But all it could take is one slip up from Quentin Clark to allow Austin Fitzgerald to get there. Let's see what this last lap was. And again, Clark, a bit faster, not as much, only 0.06 of a second. But if you're Austin Fitzgerald, you needed to start closing here like right now. And I'm talking a couple tenths a lap. I just don't think it's quite going to work out that way. By the way, Jeff Marble, good recovery for him. Bill Benedict looking for a phenomenal finish here tonight in 6th. Jeffrey Souza trying to hang on to a top 5. Thomas O'Hara as well, looking for his season best run here tonight in 4th. Jared Bundy, another podium for him as he can finish 3rd. Jacob Musso, a top 10. Kenneth Bartholomew, the rookie, another top 10 after some struggles. And Ty Iopolito, even with all that damage, he's looking to try to bring home a top 10 right here at the end. A lot of guys that did a great job overcoming struggles here tonight. As we now hit 3 laps to go, gap is down to just about a second now. Fitzgerald goes back up here, though. Not sure if Fitzgerald slipped up or what the deal was. Problem here, too, is Fitzgerald is going to have the 61 of Rachel trying to get around him. And that could potentially slow him up as well, Rachel Hunt. But looks like actually maybe she won't. Point is, 2 laps to go. And that gap is still just too far for Fitzgerald to close up here in 2 laps. This is going to be the last chance here, is if any of this lap traffic gets in the way. And Conklin, a little bit. The 00 with a slight checkup. Don't think it's going to be enough though yet. Quentin Clark going to look low here. Brian Conklin still staying high. Will he yield here off of 4? He doesn't. Does Clark get clear? Yes, he does. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go at Dover. Fitzgerald still 0.7 of a second back, and lap traffic in front of him. Meanwhile, the seas have parted. The skies are clear for Quentin Clark. Final set of corners, 200 laps. First endurance race of the season. The Monster Mile has been conquered by none other than the rookie for Riot Motorsports. Quentin Clark gets win number 2 at Dover. Fitzgerald brings home 2nd, and Jared Bundy rounds out the podium. What a race. I think all in all we only had, do we have 2 cautions? So we had 1. Yeah, we had I think 3 cautions in total. I mean, that is phenomenal for Dover. Hats off to the entire field here tonight for a very clean race, a good strategy-filled race, and the man who kept it the cleanest tonight was certainly the man that got the job done. So you got to give it to the young rookie, Quentin Clark. The job well done here tonight. Brings it by the start-finish line. We'll see if we get a little burnout action right here. Looks like he'll park it for now, so we'll go ahead and start breaking down the results. Quentin Clark is your winner here at the Monster Mile. Austin Fitzgerald in 2nd. Jared Bundy 3rd. Thomas O'Hara in 4th. Jeffrey Souza 5th. Bill Benedict in 6th. Jeff Marble 7th. Kenneth Bartholomew in 8th. Ty Iopolito Jacob Musso 9th. And Ty Iopolito rounding out your top 10. Andrew Baraz in 11th. Matthew Gieringer in 12th. Wetzer Jr. in 13th. Brandon Saylor in 14th. Scott Glasso 15th with Cody Matthews in 16th. Brian Conklin 17th with Ryan Haynes in 18th. Rounding out your top 20 here tonight is going to be Johnny Mikulchuk and Mark Zabak. Christopher Hall finishes 21st. Glenn Grigsby in 22nd. Tyler Marble 23rd. Rachel Hunt 24th. Andrew Russo 25th with Jeff Shutt in 26th. Brett Spod 27th. Kyle Oakley in 28th. Todd Shiro 29th. And Jake Hickson rounding out your top 30. Alan Pajari 31st. Michael Mueller 32nd. Tracy Powers 33rd. Roger Shelton in 34th. Adam Johnson 35th. And Anthony Handley rounding out the field tonight. He finishes in 36th. All right, well, as the celebrations continue on the front stretch, the 00 of Quentin Clark, we're going to go see if we can get your top 3 in here for interviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back at Dover. All right, going to start first with your 3rd place finisher here tonight, Jared Bundy. Jared, this is Austin the Booth. Got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, you've got a win on the season. You tack on another podium here tonight at the Monster Mile. Overall, though, a pretty tough race. You had to work your way through the field, up 14 spots from where you started. Good finish. How you feel about it overall, and how did you get to that spot?
Well, it feels nice getting off the plate racing, from last week. That's its own thing. But it feels good getting a 3rd. Like I said in my post-race after Texas, I was hoping that would string together some good finishes and not getting killed at Dega, and a 3rd here. It's starting to come together. Hopefully we can continue it.
Certainly is. The momentum is building and building at the right time as we will start to head towards the middle portions of the season. But before we let you head out here tonight to cap off a good run, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yes. First and foremost, my mom's birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday. I want to thank you for your awesome broadcasts every week. Thank you for showing up. I want to thank Jeff and Tyler and everybody else in this league that shows up, and Jeff and Tyler for running things and keeping it going. And we get awesome racing. Had a really nice race here. Not a lot of caution, so that's always good. I think that should be about it.
Thank you, of course, for talking to us again. Congrats on the 3rd place finish. We'll see you at Kansas.
Thank you.
All right, now that'll bring us to your 2nd place finisher, Austin Fitzgerald. Austin, this is Austin the Booth. You got a copy?
Hey, yeah, I got you.
Well, another podium finish for you here tonight, and it's going to help your point standing, but man, kind of a lot of fluctuations there the last maybe 20 to 30 laps in terms of who was catching who, and overall, how'd you feel about that last run? Do you feel like maybe you would have had something for the leader if there was some more laps?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I just drove off the right rear the way the track was changing. I just didn't adjust enough to compensate for it, so the car was getting tighter and tighter. And then I got caught up behind Andrew there, and that cost me like a second. And then Michael and Tyler got into it at one point, and that definitely cost me some time. And I got some damage from that too. So those two situations definitely didn't help. But Quentin did a great job just managing his stuff, managing that gap. And I don't know, maybe if we had a few more laps there and a few more lap cars, maybe I could have had a shot at it. But on one hand, I'm kind of getting sick of P2. Quentin's bested me both times we've went head-to-head this season. But I guess in the grand scheme of things, I started 17th today, got into long qualifying. So I'll take a P2 in the points for sure.
Absolutely. Well, a great run here tonight. So before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
As always, just a shout out to the team and league admins, you for the broadcast. Nobody says it, but yeah, you do a great job, man. And yeah, I just shout out to everybody participating in the league. Like I said, I think last time I was on, we have a great turnout every week, and it makes it so much more enjoyable just to have these full fields. So yeah, see you next week.
Absolutely, and thank you for talking to us. Again, congrats on the second place finish, and see you at Kansas.
See ya.
All right, and now that brings us to your now two-time winner, Quentin Clark. Quentin, this is Austin the Booth. Got a copy.
I got you, Austin.
Well, you capture your second win of the season tonight at the Monster Mile, and you had to fend off some guys that maybe had the better strategy call there for a while, but you managed to do it. Break us down your entire race and how you're able to hold on to the lead there through that last run.
Just save. I knew I had pretty decent short run speed in this setup to get it around Austin a couple times, and that dude is always fast at short tracks, whether it's short run or long run. So I knew I had to get in front of him and just get that clean air and keep it there. So
once you got that clean air, never looked back. And now that you've tacked on that second win of the season, you've got one at a short track, one that maybe we don't consider a short track, somewhere in between. Next week, we head back to 1.5 mile Kansas. You're looking to see if you can have your first win at 1.5 mile next week.
I can tweak the car mid-race to keep getting better and better, and I think that they're all going to excel at Kansas, and Kansas is definitely one of my favorites too. So I'm hoping we can make some noise there and have a little fun.
Absolutely. Well, I apologize. I think we actually had you muted for the first half of that statement that you just said there, but we were able to get it corrected. So, overall, just talking about that you got the great chance at Kansas, and you had Dover circled here tonight along with Phoenix, and certainly paid off for both of those two races. So wouldn't be surprised if it pays off again next week. With all that, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out before we let you head out to celebrate?
Yeah, huge shout out to my teammates, Andrew, Michael, and Hanley. Hanley, unfortunately, was having migraines and couldn't make the race, but he was crew chiefing the whole time. And I hate it for Mueller that sounded like he got taken out by the 48, and but he hopped right on the pits and started crew chiefing, coaching me through the corners too, and helping me find a little bit of extra speed to keep the gap there. So really, really grateful for them. I want to give a huge shout out to my dad and my wife. I know my dad's watching back home. My wife puts the kiddo to bed every Monday night so I can race, and I'm really appreciative to her. And I want to give a special shout out to my grandma. I'm not sure if she's watching, but I just spent the weekend with her, first time seeing her after she's been admitted to hospice, and I got to show her the last 15 laps of the Phoenix win, and just meant a lot to see her excited. She thought I was going to be a NASCAR driver when I was a little boy, and it's fun to just show up and show her what I'm doing, and so I'm hoping she got a chance to watch this tonight. Really cool to win this one right after showing her the Phoenix win, and then huge shout out to Groovy Divine Boutique. Please go on TikTok and follow them. It's my brother's wife's new boutique shop, and they're trying to get started on TikTok. And once they reach 1,000 followers, they can start live sales on TikTok. So that's why I've got the tie-dye car. Really means a lot to have them on the door and get them a win in their second race on the car. So yeah, I probably talked too much already, but thank you in the booth for having us, and love being able to talk to you, man.
Absolutely, and it's good talking with you as well. Maybe doing it again next week if you've got the speed that you had here tonight.
So.
All right, we'll see you at Kansas. All right, and that is going to wrap up our coverage here tonight from the Monster Mile with the Dover 200. Thank you all so much for coming out again. They will be racing next week at Kansas. Hopefully we'll have a broadcast. I will not be on the call. I will be out on vacation with my family. So hopefully everybody has a good time next week, and I'll be back the week after that. With all that in mind, that'll do it for me tonight. Austin Green here on Goes to Racing Network. Till next time, have a good night.